Once upon a time, there was a king. Once upon a time, there was a princess. Once upon a time, there was a mouse. No matter what comes after this phrase, we all know that a story is about to begin. Now, when I was a little girl, summers meant I would go over to my grandmom's. She had a huge house with so much open space. She's the one who introduced me to story. And she told us stories under the starlit sky on breezy, cool summer nights. Fancy. But sometimes she told personal stories, legends, myths, parables, fables, and sometimes ghost stories. They were a little scary, to be honest. But those stories fascinated me so much that every time I found myself in a library, all I did was I read storybooks. Little did I know that years later, I would come to TEDxETSU and to study what? Storytelling. I had no clue what I was getting involved into. When I got here, I literally didn't know anybody. I didn't know how people would be. I didn't know what's going to happen. So on the first day, after orientation, I was munching on some snacks. Almost everybody was gone. I suddenly saw a woman standing across my table, and she politely asked me, "May I sit with you?" And my response was, "Yes, of course." And 2 minutes later, we were sharing life stories. We were sharing choked throats, teary eyes, hysterical laughters, and realized that we both have been living almost the similar lives while living continents apart. Now, that's what storytelling does. It connects you through emotions and experiences. How many of you are storytellers here? Can we have a raise of hands? All right, for the rest of you, when you tell your spouse, your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your friend, or anybody how your day was, when you're complaining about how annoying your colleague is, when you're making excuses, when you are not submitting your assignments or projects on times, why you're late to the class, when you don't like your bosses and you're talking behind his back, what do you think you're doing? You're telling stories. Of course, when you talk about someone or something, there's a story right there. Now, stories from the beginning of times have been passed down from generations to generations. And that's how when knowledge was not documented, traditions, cultures, beliefs, history, any kind of knowledge was passed on from one generation to another. Have you heard about the story about the rabbi? Okay, let me tell you. There was this rabbi. He told a story in a forest every week to a gathering. For the rest of his life, he told the same story over and over again. And then tradition followed, and this was passed on to the next generation. In this translation, the original story that rabbi was telling all his life was lost. But today, some people on stage are telling the story about the story, right? All right. We all know, we can't deny, that we live in a world which is full of divide. The divides could be sexual orientations, languages, nationalities, ethnicities, color of the skin, power, religions, you name it, and that's a divide. What is the problem with that divide? The problem is that human beings are ethnocentric. We think that our society is the best. The way of our living is the best. Our culture is the best. So everybody should be like us. And when we find people who are different from us, we start building stereotypes. We start making judgments about them. that a certain community is a certain way. Some people are like that, and some other people are like that. And these judgments are based on some stories that we have heard about them, or interestingly, sometimes these are the stories that we are telling ourselves about them. They may or may not be true. What should we do? We should be able to tell our stories to people who are different from us. We should be open and willing to respectfully listen to their stories. For example, let's say our hand. Everybody's got 5 fingers, around that. Is any of our fingers similar to the other one? I doubt it. But when we combine everything, what happens? That's our strength. We can fight anything that comes. We should be able to be honest enough to understand that there are people who coexist with us. It doesn't matter what the color of their skin is. It doesn't matter. All our differences are superficial, but there is a common thread between us. That common thread is that we are all human beings. We have the same natural life cycle. The anatomy of bodies is the evidence of our human existence. We're born the same way. We're brought up. We eat food. We have parents. Our bodily functions are same. We try to learn an living. We try to earn a living. We get married. We have kids. We grow old, and then we die. That is the common thread. We all share similar human experiences. Nobody can deny it. So can we say that our differences are superficial, but our similarities, they are grounded in humanity? Now, how can we exchange our stories with other people? One, we can travel the world. We can get to know different cultures, tell them your ways of life, learn from them, be respectful and tolerant of their ways of life, their cultures, their beliefs, what they think about us is also to be respected because they are the other people. Do you think if we are different from them, will they have some stereotypes about us that we need to clarify? Because in psychology, you see, people have studied that when we have a problem with somebody, that somebody has almost the same kind of problems with us. Let's understand this with an analogy of the garden. Let's say if the world is the garden, and we're all different kinds of flowers. It's okay to turn your back. It's your decision, your choice. Now, does that mean then the other flowers do not exist? We're all different. We all have our individual beauty, specialty, our own unique qualities. But would you prefer a one-flower garden? I wouldn't. We all bring something to the table. Now, since a colorful garden looks beautiful the same way, the world looks better, livable, happier with diversity. And it is up to us to see that unity in the diversity. In my culture, there is a saying, Vasudha ev kutumbakam, which translates to, the entire earth is my family. If we even try to live by this philosophy, that the entire earth is my family, we would automatically have mutual respect, and we would have better relationships cross-culture. Interestingly, The divides are not just between cultures, they're also within our cultures. Look around yourself, within your culture, how many divisions we have. We try to use the stories, tell people who you are, ask people who they are. When you can't travel, you will find yourself in this modern world in settings where there is diversity. Go up to them. Go up to those people you think they are different from you. Ask them who they are, not judge them. Tell them who you are and clarify their judgments about you. Now, I would leave you with this takeaway that please exchange your stories with everybody, whoever you can reach. There are billions of people in this world. I'm not telling you to go and talk to each and every one. But whoever comes in your contact, wherever it's possible, be open, be willing, be respectful, and talk to them. Today I'm standing here giving this speech. Does anybody of you have an idea? What is my pain? What I'm going through? What is my life? What are my fears? I don't know yours either. True. Let's exchange our stories so that we can live a more livable, happier, and prosperous world for our coming generations. Because stories have the power to transform this world. Thank you very much.